Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 658 days, Ukraine defends itself against the Russian invasion. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky visited Norway, where he took part in the second Ukraine-Northern Europe summit in Oslo, along with the prime ministers of Denmark, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden, and the president of Finland, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre announced plans to provide Ukraine with additional assistance to strengthen its air defense, financial support for healthcare and education, and funding for an increase in ammunition production. In particular, about 11 million euros will be allocated to cover spending on education, healthcare, and pensions. In addition, at the beginning of 2024, more than 250 million will be provided to support the functioning of the education and healthcare sectors through the World Bank. 28 million euros will be allocated to further strengthen Ukraine's air defense. 85 million euros has been earmarked for co-financing to strengthen the capacity of the defense industry so that more projectiles and missiles for Ukraine can be produced. Another almost 12 million is to be provided for the UN's Winter Humanitarian Program for Ukraine, which will provide shelter, basic necessities, and food to people who have been left homeless because of the war. This funding will be in addition to the assistance previously announced for 2023. At the same time, Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, informed that her government is to present a new aid package for Ukraine in the Danish parliament on 14th of December. The package is worth about 1 billion euros and will include ammunition, tanks, and drones. Yesterday evening, the largest Ukrainian telecom operator Kyivstar, who experienced a large-scale technical failure caused by hacker attack, started to resume its services, reports Slovo i Dilo. First, they resumed voice calls and worked on internet connectivity and messages. Director General of the company Alexander Komarov informed that Russian hackers hacked the cyber defense of Kyivstar through a compromised account of one of employees, reports Interfax Ukraine. Thus, according to him, the issue is not in technology but in people. Komarov also stated that the company used the most modern technologies to protect against cyber threats and repelled about 500 cyber attacks since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Earlier, the Russian hacker group Solntsepek, which according to the Security Service of Ukraine is part of the Russian Military Intelligence Service, took responsibility for the attack. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, in the apps where you are listening to this podcast: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This really helps more people to learn about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. Alexander Tarnavsky, commander of the Tavria operational group of forces in the south of Ukraine, said that the Russians are assembling forces in the Marinka area, Donetsk region, in preparation for future assaults, reports Ukrinform. He dismissed Russian claims that they have already captured the whole city, stressing that the defense of Marinka continues. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon, as well as subscribe to the podcast itself. With your support, we are getting better.
We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.